This is a video that demonstrates how Device Authority's Keyscaler has integrated with Microsoft's Active Directory certificate services to provide automatic certificate signing for IoT devices. In today's enterprise networks, there are a number of existing connections to a typical ADCS server. These are users and a number of peripheral devices, as shown here. With the proliferation of IoT, many new devices also need access to the ADCS server, for example, remote cameras, smart cars, etc. As these IoT devices are external to the enterprise network, they cannot connect to the ADCS server directly. Managing the security for them can be difficult and complex. This connectivity and device security management can be accomplished with Device Authority's Keyscaler platform to provide private certificate signing services from the ADCS server. This enables the Keyscaler platform to provision ADCS-signed X509 certificates to IoT devices. The need here from a business perspective is to improve the overall security and management of those outbound IoT devices in order to provide confidentiality, integrity, and authentication. Also, by leveraging existing investments in Active Directory PKI infrastructure, there is a need to provide private CA services. The Keyscaler ADCS connector is designed to provide certificate signing services from Microsoft's ADCS server. This enables the delivery of X509 certificates to IoT devices. This effectively enables Keyscaler to facilitate Microsoft's private CA services to devices external to the enterprise network. Let's take a look at the ADCS connector flow overview. First, we need to set up Keyscaler as a certificate authority using the new ADCS connector. The next time the IoT device checks into Keyscaler, it will check for any new assets or certificates it needs to process. Keyscaler will check the device for policies and ascertain whether it needs a certificate. If so, it will send a CSR to the ADCS server defined by policy to get it signed. The signed certificate is returned to Keyscaler, which forwards it onto the IoT device. Here is an outline of what we'll see in the live demo. We start with a one-time configuration of the Keyscaler platform, setting up the connector and policies. Next, we need to set up the ADCS proxy application. We will also show you a device registration and witness a signed certificate get delivered to it. And finally, we can verify that certificate was signed by the Microsoft ADCS server. And now for the live demo. First, we need to install and run the Keyscaler ADCS proxy application. It can be installed on any Windows machine or the ADCS server and then run it as a service. Next, we configure the Keyscaler system by logging into the Keyscaler control panel and from the dashboard, navigate to the Manage Service Connector. Let's take a look at an ADCS service connector that is pre-configured. Here we can see that the service connector is set to Microsoft ADCS and all the other required parameters are configured for the connector. Next, let's configure the certificate policy. A certificate policy, PKI for Windows, is pre-configured. Here, the CA is set to use the service connector that has been set up, and all the other certificate policy parameters are configured. Next, let's see the device group configuration. We have a device group called Windows Device Group pre-configured. Check that the certificate policy is attached to this device group. Next, we need to create a new device provisioning record by navigating to the Provision New Device option. Here we need to fill in a few device-specific details as shown. Now we click the Create Registration Record. The provisioning record is now ready to be consumed by the device. Now run the Credential Manager agent on the device to register and consume the assets. From the logs, we can see that the device is successfully registered and the asset or certificate is being received from Keyscaler. We can navigate back to Keyscaler control panel and check the device status. Here we can see from the device logs that the certificate has been delivered successfully. Now let's take a look at the ADCS server. This is the certificate authority that manages all the certificates on the ADCS server. Let's look at the issued certificates from this CA. Refreshing the page, it shows the latest certificate, request ID 32. Let's take a closer look. Here we can see which device the certificate was issued to and the CA it was issued by, with its own unique serial number. Looking at the certificate delivered to the device itself using Keystore Explorer application to view the certificate, we can compare the two certificates and validate that they match up. Using the serial number and the issuer from both certificates, we can see that they match up. This completes the live demo. Here's a summary of what we saw. Following a one-time setup of Keyscaler and the ADCS application, we show a device getting registered and a certificate being delivered to it, and verified that the delivered device certificate was signed by the Microsoft ADCS server. Here's a summary of the main benefits of Keyscaler integration with Microsoft ADCS service. It provides enhanced IoT device security by binding the device identity with corresponding digitally signed certificates. It also improves operational efficiency by leveraging existing investments in Microsoft infrastructure and including IoT devices that would normally not be part of the enterprise network. It also extends and leverages ADCS features for IoT devices like group policies, making it easier to implement role or attribute-based access control. And finally, it allows automatic certificate provisioning and lifecycle management for enterprise IoT devices. Thank you for your time. If you'd like more information, please do get in touch.